Wahoo, yippee, and
Woo!
Mamma Mia, boys and girls. It's time to
Dude,
review the Super Mario Bros. Movie.
did
All right.
you have to say it in that way?
uh, um, Wahoo,
Yeah,
yippee.
yippee. Yes. So,
Yeah,
yes, it's here. It's finally here. It's finally real, and we
it's
both
real,
watched it.
right?
It's a real, it's a real movie that exists.
It's a real movie. It all started from like just getting like memed the heck out of when it was first announced. Where it's just like this nonsense cast of like
Yeah,
like star-studded cast, but just like
yeah, it is.
just
But
one
it's kind
after
of like
the
a
other. It was
wild.
just like comedic how they were revealing it was like Chris Pratt.
I
It
I,
was-
I loved yeah, Arlo's reaction to that was probably my favorite because he when they announced Seth Rogen as Donkey Kong, he had to like he was like crying laughing
yeah, there's some good reactions out
because it
there to
was
that.
just like yes. So yes, that
But
that did a lot of that happen. But I mean, even before then, people were definitely raising their eyebrows. You know, Illumination was pegged as the studio because like it goes back to like Nintendo was like sort of shopping around for like different studios to maybe do a Mario movie. And it was interesting that they landed on Illumination because Illumination has historically had the motto of we're gonna make huge blockbuster movies that make as much as Disney movies, only we're going to do it for a fraction of the price. So it's going to be the animation is going to be cheap, but it'll make gangbusters, and that's how we'll make a huge profit. And overall, it's worked for them. I mean, they're a financially successful studio. I think a lot of their films are absolute garbage, but
I remember
I
watching
do
it.
like I do like the first couple Despicable Me's. I think those are fun,
It was
and
funny
this
watching the trailer like before this movie. It was like from the makers of Despicable Me,
yeah, it's like
Sing,
oh yeah, Sing.
Trolls.
Oh God.
And it was
Oh,
like
don't even get me started on that. Oh my gosh.
they were just naming all
Um.
these heavy hitters just to like
Oh yeah.
unveil some movie about like geese or something that's coming out. This
Yeah,
movie.
something like that. Well, there's also another Trolls movie coming out too
Yeah, I
that
saw
I
that
saw a
trailer
preview
as well,
for.
which was painful. It was painful to
It
watch.
was one of the worst things. It was like I that literally felt like it was like 5 minutes
It
long. It
was
was
very
probably only like
long. It actually
it only
was
felt
definitely longer than the usual trailer.
yeah. Yeah.
My brother
It
and I
was
were both
bad though. It
thinking
was
that.
really bad.
It was
It
really
was
bad. There was
really
one line
it
where it
was
was
really
like
really
where they
bad.
name dropped a bunch of boy bands in there, and it was like, love
Oh.
to go in one direction and stay in
Oh
sync.
yeah.
Going from
Oh.
boys to men. Yeah.
Oh my god. Oh, my parents laughed at that and I was embarrassed.
Just like
I was
ah.
like, "No, you don't." Yeah, they both chuckled at that and I was like, "No. No, you don't laugh at that. You don't acknowledge
Stop
that.
this.
That's not
You're
funny.
embarrassing me.
Referencing a bunch of bands alone is not funny.
Yeah.
That's not a joke."
It's like trolls band together. Is what it's called, I
Yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
And that's what we're here to talk about.
Yeah. No, we're here to talk about the Super Mario Brothers movie, but we just are giving a
Which
little
has been
backstory.
doing, which
Into it.
has crushed the box office, instantly.
It yeah, highest grossing animated opening ever.
Hmm.
uh, which is nuts. I think it beat Frozen 2. That's crazy. That's actually crazy. The fact
Yeah.
that it beat Frozen 2 is a little wild. But my brother was telling me because I saw it on Easter actually. But my brother was we talked to him on Easter, and my brother lives in Canada. Said every single showing for the whole weekend was completely sold out at where he lives. Um, which is which is kind of crazy because like there were still plenty of seats around me but there were also three theaters in this five or six theater. There were the three theaters, there were three like auditoriums in the theater showing the film. So it's like they did like there's like 8 showings a day basically for it.
Mhm.
So like everybody's got plenty of time to to catch
Yeah.
a showing. But so that being
That
said,
being said, what do
Zach,
you think? Oh, what do I
what did
think?
you? Yeah, well, I was gonna say, what do you think?
Yeah.
What were your thoughts?
I thought it was I thought it was a lot of fun, and I thought it was really a treat how many how much actually like actual care was put into a lot of it. I felt, and all
Yeah,
the how referential it was. The music was very like it was funny because it would go from like I need a hero one
yeah.
scene, and then it's like actually like deep cut Mario music that's very like relevant. Like literally when they're choosing their cart customization, they're doing the Mario Kart
It was,
customization music. It was like
I was on cloud nine when that was going on. Okay, I loved this movie.
yeah,
One of my favorite theater going experiences that I think I've ever had in my life. And the reason that I say that is because there's a few things. There's a few things I've told every single person uh, that I've told I've seen this movie to, and that is I realized about halfway through that I had not stopped smiling for the entire movie, and I kept smiling for the entire rest of the movie. I couldn't. I was having so much fun. I felt like I was 6 years old, and I had all of the memories of a 31-year-old, my current age. I'm 31 years. Like I had all of the memories of all this history of Mario, but I was 6.
yeah.
And that was great. Like I loved that was just it was just such a beautiful, fun movie. I mean, it's not. I don't think it's perfect by any means. I think it was probably a little fast. Like it felt like it was like kind of a breakneck pace.
I said the same
There were
thing.
a couple,
I was like, it's moving
there
really
were-
fast here. Like
yeah, there were a couple of moments where I was like, whoa, 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 slow down for a
like
second.
Mario just meets Peach, and then suddenly it's like, all right, let's see what you're made of. Oh,
Yeah, I was
you
like,
don't even know
whoa,
who
yeah,
this is.
that was the part where I felt the most whiplash. I was like, whoa, hold on, we're just going for it. But it was I think she was just so like blown away that there was another human that it's like, well, he's got to come with me then. It's
Yeah.
like I've just been hanging out with all these toads my entire life, so.
But there's a
But
lot of like there's a lot to love here. Like, because obviously the appeal
Oh,
of
so
doing
much.
a Mario movie is that like you can appeal to people who grew up with Mario and haven't played it since, or and then also the hardcore fans who still love it, and and you don't even need to know anything about Mario. It's an animated movie, so it appeals to a lot of audiences. But there's really a lot here for hardcore fans, and I was surprised to see like Mario 3D World stuff.
Yeah.
Like new
There's a lot of that actually. Yeah.
and like the Luma.
There was some
and, yeah.
there was some Bowser's Fury stuff in there. I don't know if you caught that, but there was a couple.
I don't know.
There was like when in the panning shot when they're going through when Mario's going through like the Mushroom Kingdom Plaza.
Mm-hmm.
There's a shot of one of the stores. They have like the little badges. Like like the item badges that you get in that game to give you like bonus that's what like those are the pickups
Okay.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And they had those going through, and I was like, hey, I see it. It's like it's so blinky and you miss it kind of a little reference that they had there. So
Right, and that's really nice because, and like I said, with the musical touches, is like this is all stuff they didn't really need to do. You could have done just like basic Mario references, like they did the Your Princess in Another Castle reference, that kind of stuff.
yeah,
But
yeah.
they had, even when it came to the little Mario Kart segment, they had like the Mario Kart 8, like anti-gravity wheels, how they switch when you're going, stuff like that. They didn't
Even when they
really-
just did the Mario Kart 7, I mean it's in Mario Kart 8 as well. I think the glider.
The glider,
Is that in
yeah.
8?
Yeah, it is.
But yeah, when that came out, I was like, yo, all right, because like that, yeah, brings me right back to that time, like Mario Kart 7, man, when they first introduced that sort of thing. So it was like really fun stuff like that was just a delight. I mean, you say musical touches, the music was amazing in this, and I really liked the one of my favorite scenes was actually the was Bowser's song for one thing at the piano.
Okay.
That was that had me rolling. But then when Kamek interrupts him, and then they're sort of like planning on the piano and they're playing the like
Yeah, that's right.
I think it's a version that Koji Kondo composed where it has the like coin noises and the one up noise included. I was like, oh, it was so good. I love that so much. Bowser having extreme Paper Mario Bowser energy throughout this entire movie.
Right, like his face, like it just looks like weirdly like overexpressive sometimes.
Yeah. Jack Black absolutely killing it. I think he kind of stole the show a little bit. I think he really. I think his was the best performance. I think everybody was great, honestly. I know everyone was a little on Chris Pratt, but like I thought he was great. I thought everyone else did a really good job too.
Honestly, I hated Cranky Kong's voice. I'll say that. I really did not like his voice for.
It's like Fred Armisen just sort of was just like kind of just showed up and just sort of did it.
That was the one noticeable one where I was like, okay, I actually don't like that voice. The other ones were like, okay, yeah. I'm fine with it.
It wasn't perfect. But one thing though, I really like Donkey Kong's voice. I know you're a big Donkey Kong fan. I think Seth Rogen did a really good job. But I like the fact that there were a couple times where he just did like the Seth Rogen laugh, and it fit Donkey Kong perfectly. Like he did that like, like I was like, yeah, it's the Seth Rogen laugh. Yeah, this movie was delightful. I had a really great time.
So what's really interesting is that they start off in Brooklyn.
Mm-hmm.
And like just like straight up, just like an Italian Mario family. Just, like whoa, we're immediately entering into a lore we've never explored here. It's like almost Mario's back, or like what do you call it?
His backstory.
His backstory.
Mario's
like before he is Super Mario, what he's like. That kind of thing.
Yeah. Where he's kind of a little bit down on his luck, and he spends his evenings playing Kid Icarus in his, his like, bedroom.
Mario's playing.
That was awesome. Yeah, it was great. He's there playing Kid Icarus. I was like, hey.
It was just so like there was something so like you really had to get used to this world when they throw you in there. It's just funny, something funny about seeing him like little like storm off and like. Walking away with no hat on. It was like a whole different side.
When he took the gloves off. That was actually that was almost disturbing, actually. It was like, whoa, Mario's got hands. That's right.
I mean, there's a lot to talk about in this movie, but I will say the one thing I kind of didn't like about the movie overall was that Mario is kind of reduced to like, he's just a normal guy, and it's almost like the power-ups are what entirely make up what is Super Mario. And it's like, the Mario we know, he doesn't need power-ups. They make it better and do certain things for him. But now it just seems like, he's just a normal guy, and it's like any schmuck could get their hands on some power-ups and basically do the same thing. Because you saw almost Peach was like almost more badass than he was. So I think
to a degree, but it's almost like, I wouldn't say quite like coming of age, but it is like it's an origin story, I guess, to a degree. It's like this is how he came
word I was
to
looking for before, origin story.
Yeah, origin story. I mean, this is just like how he came to be as brave and standing up for himself and his brother and more proactive. I mean, he actually ate mushrooms. How about that? He hated mushrooms, but there he goes. He's grown up a little bit. Mm-hmm. I think there's definitely. I mean, they're definitely making a sequel. Well, we got to say that now. There's tons of room, just tons and tons and tons of room for them to build off of this. I mean,
right.
When we see Luigi end up in the first area he's in, I actually immediately was like, oh, are we going to do a Luigi's Mansion kind of thing here? And they sort of did a little bit. I mean, it's just him being scared, basically, which is all you really need. Which is hilarious, by the way. Luigi's just too easy. He's too easy to just be hilarious. You got to torture him a little bit because it's funny. And they did a really good job of that. The dry bones were legitimately scary.
Right. It's cool because they take so many different elements of the Mario world and kind of flesh them out and like use them in different ways than they are traditionally. With just like how they make the dry bones scary and stuff like that. It's not like you're just taking them as exactly as they are in the games. It's like they're taking their own little creative spin on it, being a little different with things.
The existential Luma.
Yeah, exactly. Out of nowhere. I loved his little one-liners though.
Yeah, they were great. They were like the penguin. We already feel bad. It's like death is just another. It's just
the only escape is like the sweet embrace of death.
Oh
wow. Okay.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
just
love
like,
how they
well,
ended
that's
the movie on that too. Just like
oh, with just a little Luma
extreme
coming
close up
in.
on Luma, like really staring into your soul.
They did have a post-credit scene though. Um,
Yes, they did.
yeah, little Yoshi egg shows up at the end.
Oh
Oh,
wait, what? Wait,
teaser.
no, maybe I didn't see that.
Yeah, yeah.
Damn.
There's a little Yoshi egg that pops
Was
up at
that
the
like a
end. Yeah,
post credits scene?
it is. Yeah,
Damn it.
it's not a mid-credits. It's a
Alright.
post-credits. I'm pretty sure that was
Yeah, because
the
we
one.
stayed for one. We didn't stay for that.
Mhm.
But yeah, I was
Yeah.
actually gonna say that I was like, okay, you should reduce to just a little reference in this, so I could definitely see them doing more with that in another movie too.
Definitely, definitely. I almost feel like you could build because a lot of this movie is focused a lot more on Mario than Luigi. I would say Luigi doesn't really get as much screen time as I was expecting. That might be one of my kind of criticisms of it because I think Luigi's just is always. I really like Luigi a lot. When he is here and when he is with Mario, that's like they're spectacular together. They're a lot of fun. They play off each other extremely well. That bond is really good, but I think it does kind of work overall because that's Mario's entire motivation for doing anything is I want to get Luigi back. I just want to get Luigi back and get back home.
Right. I mean, they took the classic Mario story instead of saving Peach. Now we're saving Luigi, and
Right.
Peach is like a little more badass. And
Mm.
yeah, I mean, I guess
But
it's
I was gonna say you reminding me then also Mario Odyssey features very prominently here too in the sort of before the climactic scene because it's Bowser trying to marry
yes,
Peach,
that's right.
and
He's
they're
got the
both in there.
outfit,
They're
yeah.
just straight up in the outfits from Mario Odyssey, which are great outfits by the way. Absolutely love them.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
yeah, and I was surprised at the amount. I guess it's probably because Shigeru Miyamoto worked so closely with the movie that these like
mhm.
there's actually so much care put into the references and everything, and it's not
Yeah,
just surface level Mario, which is kind of what I expected from the when it was first announced. So I mean, I
yeah.
appreciate that a lot. There's a lot of
It's
like to sink into in every scene. There's a lot of different references.
Yeah, it is nice because it doesn't there's a point where like sometimes when you do fan service the right way, it doesn't feel quite as like obtrusive or annoying. Like it just to me it's almost fleshing the world out more. It's making it feel like more it just feels right. All of these things just feel right in this world. And it's not like and it's nice for people that like us that are have been playing these for like our entire lives to get a lot of this stuff, but it's nice where it's like it's not like intrusive. It's like a good feeling. It's like the movie giving you a nod and you nodding back,
Mhm.
and it's not like playing it for hey see what we got here. It's just like look at all of the stuff that we have and do, and here it is. This is the world, and
Yeah,
it's
true.
it's delightful.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Because there's definitely a reality where the movie could have just been like, haha, like super corny Mario jokes and
Yeah.
not really feel like they're respecting Mario fans. It's just kind of like, all right, well, we
Mhm.
know this is a cash grab. People will come to see Mario whether they really know anything about the games or not. So it's nice
Yeah.
to see that kind of. There's a lot of widespread appeal there.
Yeah, that's definitely. I feel like that is a lot of the Nintendo touch in there. It is you can really legitimately tell that they had a lot of input and
Yeah.
like in regards to that, we've talked a lot about Mario, but we do have to talk about the Donkey Kong scene. I mean, you are repping DK here, the DK arena.
Right, and,
We
and I
have
mean, and also there's this whole thing of like we need to go to the Kong lands. What was it, Kong
yeah
lands?
the jungle. I think it's the Jungle Kingdom, right? Is it
Jungle
just the
Kingdom. Yeah,
jungle
we need to
or
get the
something?
Kongs.
Yeah, the Kong
And there's just
the
like
Kong army.
there's just a ton of Kongs suddenly. This is like
Yeah, the Kong army needs to help us. Yeah.
unlike we've ever seen. Just literally a
Mm.
coliseum full of Kongs watching this duel going down. I'm like, wow, they just opened up a whole little world they created here for the Kongs.
The fact that we had not only Diddy, who gets a line, we also had Dixie, and we also had I believe was Chunky Kong.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
think he
think that
was
was
there.
I'm pretty sure that was Chunky Kong, and I was so excited that we had not one but two Donkey Kong 64 references, a game which I very much love.
More Kong
But the DK rap,
representation. That's right.
the DK rap, he comes out to the DK rap, and I
That's
am
right.
a little
Yeah.
I am bothered that they do not credit Grant Kirkhope in the credits.
Hmm.
They just say DK Rap from Donkey Kong 64, and they do not credit him. And I was a little upset. I'm a little upset on his behalf for that because I think he deserves that
I'm
credit.
curious if he said anything about it yet on because he's active
He
on
did.
Twitter.
He did. He was pretty upset.
Oh.
But he's like, I'm gonna go see it anyway. But he was sad. He was just sad. I mean, like he's like they don't have to, but like it would have been nice, you know. But
that was a like nice little touch there, and you have little references like the King Babam and stuff that I did not expect to see in there.
yeah, King Boo and King Babam show up to the wedding. That's great.
Yeah.
What a fun little movie.
But yeah, in terms of like overall, like like we were saying, it is very quick. It's just kind of like every plot point is kind of zoomed across. If you look at it just a purely movie standpoint, it's like you go to the Kongs. Mario just kind of fumbles his way until he gets a bunch of power ups, beats him real quick, and it's like, okay, you have the Kong army now. It's like, all right. It seemed really quick, and then it's just on to the next thing, and
We got our Mario Kart sequence, which was also delightful.
Yeah, and the fact that I said early on, I'm like, the blue shell is definitely gonna come in at some point, and then the guy is the blue shell. I did not see that.
Yeah, that was awesome. Yeah, that was fantastic. For the blue shell comes in there. Yeah, but I liked all the representation there in terms of like the different kinds of carts as well. They definitely went a little like wild and crazy with some of the designs, but like we didn't get the B Dasher, but we did get like a very classic looking Mario Kart, and then also Peach's bike, which are both like pinpoint right there. So
now I'm interested, like if they do future Mario movies, like obviously flesh out Yoshi more, but will they add more characters? Kind of like how Sonic seems to be doing, where they're already like teasing. Like they had Tails in the second one, and then they have Shadow
and Knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Shadow in the next one.
So are we getting that Wario and Waluigi in the mix? That kind of stuff.
That would be amazing if they did. I feel like having one maybe a little bit more around like Luigi's, like I'd say Luigi's Mansion vibes would be really fun. I think in a movie, I don't know if you would do the whole movie about that, but maybe at least having a sequence in which there's a lot of that, like with the Poltergust 3000 in EGAD maybe showing up for a significant part of the film.
I'd be down.
I love EGAD.
Yeah, because Luigi really needed that game to have like add some complexity to his character, where he's not like always the scared guy, and he for the most part is just the scared guy in this movie. So it would be cool to see that, like that little spin on it.
To see them do that and to have him sort of rise above, that's kind of the fun part about the Luigi's Mansions games, is that Luigi still it goes to save Mario despite the fact that he's scared of everything. So like that's kind of the fun part of those games. So like having that at play would be fun.
Do you think the next one is just called the Super Mario Bros. Movie 2?
2? Yeah, they could. I mean, Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was just called that. So Charles Martinet's little cameo was nice as a guy who looked just like Jumpman, and he's playing the Jumpman arcade game. It's not called Donkey Kong; it's called something else. But that was fun. I do like the fact that it was something they didn't show when they showed their advertisement before the movie came out. What they didn't when they were doing the over-the-top Italian accents, it's almost like the movie was like acknowledging the fact that everyone was criticizing that Chris Pratt and Charlie Day were not doing Italian accents or whatever, and like they do exaggerated ones in the commercial, and then Spike, the foreman from Wrecking Crew, is making fun of them for doing that. So I thought that was interesting.
I mean, we didn't really talk about it much because it was kind of already out there from like the trailer, but that is a really nice little nod there, and like the Super Mario Bros. Super Show kind of reference there. Like
they had the Mario World capes, the capes from Mario World in there too. That was cute.
They went deep. They went deep with the references. Yeah. Like even with Nintendo involved, it wasn't just like, okay, how can we promote our like little products or whatever. It was like, okay, actually referencing Super Mario Bros. Super Show, which like no
Mm,
one would have expected that if it weren't for like the
yeah.
trailer and stuff. You know.
Another fun part about that woman who is in the ad, the woman they get to be in the ad for them, who does the read and is like, that's like the dumbest. I love how she has the reaction like, that's the stupidest thing
Yeah.
you could have had me say. The woman who played the voice actress, that was the voice of Toadstool in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, the original
Oh,
voice
wow.
actress. So they brought her back for that, which I thought was really pretty cool
That
that
is
they did that. Yeah, having that at play was really fun. The Super Show little reference. Yeah, I
yeah,
like
and
that.
it was nice like him going into the little the Toad town and seeing all the little hustle and bustle of the little city they had going on there. That
Hmm.
was cool too. Just
Oh, our
how
main
they
Toad. I guess I didn't say we didn't really talk about him so much.
yeah.
He was amazing. I love Toad in general. Toad's one of my favorites. So I thought
Mhm.
he was I thought he was great. He's very funny and I liked him a lot. So
For sure. Yeah, I don't have too
uh,
many complaints. You know, it's just a little vast, but that's about it. You know.
yeah.
You
I
know,
mean I
like it already did more than I would have expected from a Mario movie from Illumination. You know, I expected it just to be
yeah,
like
definitely.
solely a cash grab from
I,
when it was first announced.
I would say that this is probably no, not probably. This is easily the best looking Illumination film ever. This movie looked amazing the whole way through.
Hmm.
The animation was like pretty. It was like good. The lighting was amazing. All the little like, just the little details everywhere were just like really. They did such a good job with all of that. I really, it was delightful, absolutely joyful the whole way through.
Now, is this
And
movie without nostalgia and fan service? Does this movie have any legs, or is it solely like on the back of
it's
that?
it's so hard to say. It really is kind of hard to say that. I think it's such an integral part of the movie that it probably I don't even know if you can judge it without it because here's the thing, the critical reaction to it is pretty mixed. It's got like a 50 something percent on Rotten Tomatoes. It's kind of so it's sort of so it's a rotten rating because
Right.
if it's below 60% it's a rotten rating. But the fans response is like a 95 or something or 96. So it's like the movie's not really for it's not really for that kind of a critique, right? It's kind of a fun, breezy summer movie that came out in April. Like that's just sort of
Yeah.
what it is and what it's for. And I mean, it's to me it has enough of a through plot and enough of some character beats and growth and moments. There's not like a lot of it, but I think there's enough of it for the movie to have a little bit of an arc. I also like we didn't say much about this, but like Donkey Kong and Mario's relationship is also fun. They're like weird little rivalry that they have. That's great. I really like that a lot.
Hmm.
Now they have to sort of like learn to work together, and like that's a fun
Right.
little thing. Um, yeah, your DK.
Love Donkey Kong. But yeah, I will say the most like when I think of everything I love about this movie, it's all coming
Mm,
down to like the music, how the references were like so it was like so well done,
mm,
um, incorporating all the different elements from the games and referencing things like that. So I feel like it probably drives a lot of it. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but it could just purely be a fan service movie, and for the most part.
mm.
And I think I don't know like yeah if you're not it's hard to say if you haven't played a Mario game because most people would have at some point in their life.
Yeah,
But I would say like if you haven't played a Mario game, then you probably wouldn't get anything out of it. But
right.
yeah, that's the thing that just Mario Bros as a brand is just so strong that it's like you're less likely to have not played a Mario game than you are to have played a Mario game. You know,
Yeah, for
so
sure, for sure. Yeah, that's why like my parents both loved it because like it was funny because my dad for his I think for his what was his 50th 60th I don't remember one of his high school reunions that happened recently. I think it was 60th. Thinking because right no it was 50th. Boy, my dad's not my dad's not that old. He's old, but he's not that old. Um, It would have been 50th because he would have been 68. So they did a Super Mario Brothers was like the theme of their like the parade, the thing they did at their parade for the high school reunion. And my dad was always talking about how there were a few people in his class that had no idea what Mario was, and he was like shocked. He was baffled,
Right. Wow.
like, and completely surprised. He was like, "How do you not know what Mario is?" And I was like, "Dad, you have to remember, you raised three boys that were obsessed with this stuff. You raised three sons who grew up with the Nintendo Entertainment System, and we bought Nintendo systems our entire lives. It's like it's hard for
I would still be baffled.
you know, and these I don't blame him for being baffled. I don't blame him for being baffled, but I was also like, you do have to understand that like you also have a more of a clearer frame of reference because you were playing these games also, and we were playing them, and we grew up playing them. So it's like, because he said it's like some people in his class were like, oh, our kids never, we didn't have TV, or our kids didn't have any of that stuff. And I would have been like, dang, that's a sad childhood. That's yeah, Mario's just been a delight for households across the world for 35 years now. So yeah,
That's true. All right. Well, with all that being said, I guess it's time to give it a score.
it's honestly really difficult to do that because it's like
It is difficult to.
because it's like it's hard to separate the actual like the joy, the delight, the feeling like a kid aspect of it to like the critical part of the movie. It's like, yeah, it's so hard to tear those away from each other. I don't think you really can, in my mind. And for that reason alone, I'm giving it an 8.5.
Okay.
I kind of almost want to just give it a 9, because like that's how much fun I had with it. I'll be a little bit more reserved. I'll be a little conservative. I'll give it an 8.5. The one thing I'm interested now, Nintendo seems to now have their own like in the opening of this movie, Nintendo like there's a whole last Nintendo opening, and I'm like, Nintendo's future proofing. If they want, they could make a Zelda movie if they wanted to now. If they've got the means and the desire to, they could do that. And I'd be even more there for that than Mario. I love Mario, don't get me wrong. I'm a massive Mario fan. That's the series I've like is the oldest series that I grew up playing. Like cuz Zelda was too complicated when I was a little kid. So but Mario is easy. Little kids can understand Mario very easily. So when you're 5. So yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, 8.5.
8.5. I give it an 8. All right.
Okay.
I think that's around what we gave Sonic 2. That's kind of
I think it is right about that.
Feelings about it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot. I think that is generally where I'm feeling about these movies is that they're extremely good for what they are. They don't need to strive to be anything overly deep or overly nuanced. And that's okay. Yeah. It's okay to have movies that are like that sometimes. You know, I like depth. End of Evangelion is one of my favorite animated movies of all time. You talking about enigmas within an enigmas.
But if we get a Mario 2, that it'll be more of a test because we've already got a lot of the references out of our system here. You know,
I would agree with you. I think you can always just add more characters, and that's gonna be more interesting.
Yeah.
I do agree with you that I think the next film will be the test, much as it kind of was with Sonic, really.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, Sonic did it better the second time.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
definitely not out the realm of possibility. Like if you just tighten up, like make a tighter plot, then you could have something. You could have something good here.
Yeah, maybe pace it out a little bit as well.
There's something special though about just like even sitting there and like the credits playing and it's playing all that Mario music, like Galaxy music and stuff. Like it's just something really nice about it.
I was getting
in the theater, hearing that you would never.
I was tearing up. I was tearing up, man. That music, like it's just like it evokes that childhood innocence, man. And it's like I was just going right back to 2007. So I was in.
Back when we used to play Mario games.
I was in 10th grade when I used to play. Well, I mean, I still do, but
No,
it's
we haven't played one since we've been children.
since we visited.
We haven't played one since.
Yeah, we only just played one. We only just played one like 6 months ago. Yeah, I was like, wow, I was a sophomore in high school or whatever when Mario Galaxy came out. I remember that game blew my mind when it came out. In terms of like the sort of like scope and the majesty of the music, where you compare it to just the 8-bit stuff, which is great. Don't get me wrong. All the Latin sort of rhythm stuff is all great. The classic Mario theme, but then you've got the fantastic gusty garden galaxy
absolutely.
being just one of the most sweeping awesome. That is like the theme, I would say, of easily is the theme of like modern Mario, or like I think at least of I would say it's the theme of modern Mario, really.
So good. It's so good.
Because they used that in that. They used it in Galaxy 2. That's like almost like the main theme of Galaxy 2 is they incorporated that again. They brought it back for Mario 3D World as well as like a central sort of like celebration theme of like the last thing. It is really, I think that is sort of like the big capstone, that particular theme in terms of that era of Mario. So looking forward to whatever they have come up with next. But I'm gonna go see this again. Almost 100%. I just had too much fun.
Yeah.
So.
But with all the references and stuff, it's funny to think of like Chris Pratt. Like, does Chris Pratt even know what's going on? Like, he doesn't know what Cat Mario is. Like,
he might not know what Cat Mario is, but he's talked about in interviews that he grew up playing the Mario games. So
everybody grew up playing Mario games. So
probably, yeah.
He's just like
supposedly.
He seemed like the most like from all the. I haven't watched any of the press after, but like the press before, he seemed like the most like the least into it, like the least invested in it. That's just the impression I got. Like Jack Black seemed to have put more heart into it, like be more passionate about it.
Is that kind of just the way Chris Pratt sort of is, though? I feel like that's just sort of like
maybe.
That's like kind of how he is with a lot of stuff. I admit I didn't see like a whole lot of it, but I mean Jack Black, to me, the bits I saw felt like very much just them being themselves. Like Chris Pratt didn't feel like he was like, he was not overly enthused, nor was he less enthused than he normally is about things. But Jack Black was going nuts because he goes insano mode on like everything he does, because that man is hilarious. he's actually like one of the funniest people. The Saxaboom skit on the little Saxaboom thing that he does at concerts, as well as did on Jimmy Fallon, lives rent free in my head. That's like that's.
But yeah, that's the Tarqaron score, 8.25. All right.
Yeah. All right.
We didn't know what to expect when it was first announced, and
it was a little, like, I don't know. I was more willing to give it the benefit of the doubt than a lot of people did when they talked about when the first trailer sort of came out and you first heard Chris Pratt, which by the way, they didn't even, so the lines, "What is this place?" and "Here we go," which are the two lines that were in that movie, or were in that trailer, weren't even used in that scene. Those were in two separate scenes earlier in the movie, which I thought was really interesting. Yeah. Also,
they do a little bit of that. It's a me.
Yeah.
And some slow mo, Mamma Mia.
Mia. That was a little weird. I'm not always crazy about like the super slow mo stuff. So yeah.
But we approve of this movie, all right?
Very much so. Yeah, go see it. Take your mom, take your little brother, take your nephew. There were small children in the theater that were just having the time of their lives, and it was like one of those few times where I'm not annoyed by the young children that are in the audience, because they were having fun, they were laughing at the movie, they were having a good time. I heard a little girl behind me say like, "Oh, that's from this," and it's just like, she's getting it, she gets it. I was like, that's great. She gets it. It's just like me. Yeah.
All right. I mean, this was the big, like, we didn't have a ton of movies, like new releases that we were planning on doing. This is a big one that we knew. was gonna
absolutely.
be reviewed from when it came
Hmm.
out.
Have to. Oh, Little Mermaid was trailer was also shown before, which I hadn't seen. Which and that looks pretty good. We're gonna be reviewing that later. So
We are.
if you guys like some live action Disney, look forward to that in the future. We will be reviewing that with our friend Rusty. So
Hmm.
um, yeah.
And if I can have my way, we'll review Peter Pan and Wendy also.
You know what? Let's do it. I'm down. I'm down to
And
clown.
that comes
It
out
looks
even
awful, and I'm
earlier.
here for it. It does. Is that like a movie or is that like a Disney Plus show? I was unclear on what that is
I
exactly.
believe it's a Disney Plus movie which comes out at the
Oh,
end of April.
oh, oh, just like Pinocchio.
Yeah,
Oh, oh, our favorite.
not the best track
Hmm,
record, but they do have Lady and the
yeah.
Tramp, so there's always a chance it'll be good.
Lady the No, that's a lie. You can't be out here saying lies, Zach. Anyway,
Anyway, what video would you recommend our viewers watch until next time?
go watch a review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Hmm.
It's the other video game adaptation. It's kind of it's a good time for video game movies, I think. Yeah, Detective
It's a good
Pikachu.
time
We
to be
also
a
reviewed
gamer.
that. It's a good time to be a gamer.
Detective
I mean, if
Pikachu,
they could
yeah.
they could make another Detective Pikachu. I thought they were going to, but I haven't really
Right.
heard much about that since. So, which is like that's fine, I guess. That movie is very good in terms of what it is. So, you
Yeah.
don't need to if you don't have to. So, yeah,
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed, like the video, leave a comment, and if you do leave a comment, we'll be sure to read it on the next episode of the Tarqaron podcast. All right. Hit the
absolutely.
notification bell, click the link in the description for social media, and a wahoo, it's a me, a mamma mia. All right.